Hey guys, and welcome to the Apex Squid channel. I'm your host, Lewis, and today I'm going to review and summarize Nekopara Volume 1 for you. Please prepare yourselves because I really wasn't prepared for this. And just before we start, please take a look down at the description if you want to see the timestamps to go to the review part without being heavily spoiled. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. The game starts with the main character, Casho, finishing moving to his new place, where he would start his business, a patisserie named La Soleil, which means the sun in French, with a typo. For his surprise, two huge boxes that he didn't recognize were brought by the moving company. From inside those boxes, two cat girls, known as Chocolat and Vanilla, appeared, saying following their so-called master. Well, that was Chocolat's reason anyways. Vanilla just wanted to follow Chocolat around. His reaction to the contents of the box were mixed, since they were his sisters. Yet he couldn't stop feeling a little happy for having them there, although he knew they couldn't stay. After a day together, Casho was already planning to take them back home. However, the next day, after a failed attempt and a heartwarming conversation with Chocolat, he decided to let them stay. After this, the opening plays. So, as the chapter 2 starts, more and more items Casho ordered for his patisserie start arriving, including a work uniform for Chocolat and Vanilla. After this, the three of them go shopping again. There's a scene where Casho and the store clerk talk over some books about catgirls, which explains a bit of the catgirl lore, I guess. And then suddenly the first lewd scene takes place. It was a bath scene, and in my opinion, it was very soft, with Casho trying to convince himself he didn't have any kind of sexual attraction towards the catgirls. But if you know Nekopara, you all know what happens next. La Soleil finally opens for business, and it receives a visit from a disguised Shigure, Casho's little sister, trying to buy all of the shop stock. After a failed attempt, we are introduced to four more catgirls belonging to Casho's family: Azuki, Maple, Cinnamon, and Coconut. Following these presentations, Casho went on showing the bakery's kitchen to his sister, and that's when she told him that if Chocolat and Vanilla wanted to work with Casho, they needed a permit. That permit was none other than a collar with a bell, earned by passing some kind of exam. And well, it seems like Shigure's attempt to buy all of the shop stock wasn't a failure somehow, because it really happened. And so her and the rest of the girls ate until they couldn't anymore. At some point, Casho had left to go grocery shopping, and when he came back, bam! Chocolat and Vanilla had a new room, and his was completely princessified. The next day clients were coming and going, with Chocolat and Vanilla working the hardest that they could. All this traffic was the result of the stock out from the day before, resulting in rumors spreading all over town and therefore making La Soleil look good to the townsfolk. We then cut to a few days later on Casho's day off. Shigure is training the two catgirls for their bell exam. She tried to make Azuki show them how to act properly, but it really didn't go as planned. Then she went for a demonstration from Coconut, one that actually worked. However, even she got distracted by a fly and smacked Chocolat right in the face. Later, Maple and Cinnamon arrived and started teaching the catgirls. Maple was teaching Chocolat about emoticons, which I don't find very useful, I guess. While Cinnamon was too aroused by flower sex to teach Vanilla. During the evening, Casho tested Chocolat and Vanilla to see what they had learned, and if they had improved something, which were both a negative. We start chapter 5 with really surprising news. The catgirls receiving their bells, even though their performance was a mess. After this news, the three of them went for a walk in the park, and Chocolat reminisced about the conversation she had with Casho. Casho started finally embracing the feelings he had for Chocolat, and with that, the feelings Chocolat felt for Casho were leaking everywhere. Then suddenly, BAM! Sex! Loads of it. When I say loads of it, I mean a 20-minute written sex scene, with animations and all. It was enough to even make me a bit uncomfortable. Well, at least, from then on, Casho acknowledged his feelings, I guess. After all these shenanigans, well, time to sleep. This chapter opens with Chocolat kissing Casho in the middle of the patisserie, catching the attention of the clients, which were happy to see the newly formed couple. This was succeeded by a jealousy crisis from Vanilla, and to compensate, he gave her some baking lessons. Then it was Vanilla's time to get attracted to Casho, I guess. And then BAM! Another 20-minute sex scene. I swear that when I was reading this I just wanted it to end. At long last, it ended. And at least we could get a sweet scene where they all said they wanted to be always together. This was the only good thing I found in the midst of all this, please don't blame me. The next day, Shigure came to visit and she was babbling nonsense about wanting a French kiss from her brother. Yeah, it was terribly uncomfortable to read. I think it was some kind of twisted joke though, but even so. Then we discovered that what happened during the 2 days before was all due to Shigure's scheming. Yay! Here we start on a day out on a theme park. And finally, we get to see our protagonist's face. While the three of them were enjoying themselves, they got interrupted by a little girl, who mistook the cat girls for the amusement park's mascots, wanting to take pictures and everything. Then, the single best piece of art from the game appears. Afterwards, of course, we get hit by another sex scene. This is getting real tiring. Well, this was all. On to the next chapter. Finally, the last chapter. Well, Casho got another visit from Shigure, this time because he was so tired that he couldn't even move. Even though he wanted to work, his sister and the two cat girls were very worried, so he decided to rest. Afterwards, while trying to help Casho, Chocolat and Vanilla got in trouble with the police for not wearing their bells, and were inadvertently saved by a collapsing Casho. With Casho now back in a healthy state, he is surprised by seeing all his family's catgirls in La Soleil uniforms, along with Shigure. Casho decides to accept their help, and thus, the bakery known as Nekopara is born. Now to the final verdict. First, let's start with the positives. The artwork was immaculate. My eyes glimmered with every pixel while playing the game. The music was good also, but since it was almost the same thing over and over again, it would get progressively tiring over time. There was a scene during chapter 4 where the way they presented the busy bakery was really well done. And finally, there were the transition cards, which were almost always funny. My favorite one was this one with a JoJo reference on it, of course. And sadly, this is all I have for the positives. As for the negatives, first and foremost, the booby bounciness was a bit distracting for me, so I had to lower it almost immediately. I'm sorry guys. The fact that the catgirl twin sisters kiss during all the loot scenes makes me wanna puke. With them being sisters, it just feels very wrong to me. Then we have those clear hentai tropes that were not only very cringy, but also ruined all the wholesomeness shown in the first chapters. I know this is an eroge, but if fucking them was inevitable, well, at least you should be able to pick which ones and not having it be mandatory with both. Well, maybe that's just my monogamous ass talking. All in all, I can say that Nekopara Volume 1 didn't leave a sour taste in my mouth. Maybe I was looking for the wrong thing in the wrong place, and I accept that. But even as an eroge, it had its potential, but sadly, in my opinion, clearly missed not only the bullseye, but also the whole target. With this being said, I think this game deserves at least a 6 out of 10, just by how amazing the artwork really is. And if you don't mind the cliché tropes, then maybe it's really worth for you to play it. And heck, if you enjoy your fair share of eroges, maybe it will feel like a masterpiece for you, I imagine. But please, just don't make me play the other games on the series. And this was my review. Thank you so much for watching from the bottom of my heart. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I know this channel is fairly new, but more reviews are coming. And well, more videos are coming in general, so please stay tuned. This was Lewis, signing out.